Hi everyone, we've got the July statistics to share with you, and I thought I'd try and provide a couple of key insights into what might be happening. So we've seen a real reduction in sales volume in July over June, more so than we typically see seasonally. We've seen an increase in active listings. What does that translate to? Well, more months of inventory, now sitting at almost 3 months of inventory, and a reduction in price. So that's all kind of like economics 101. Supply goes up, demand goes down. What happens to pricing? Typically, we'll see a little bit of, a reduction in average sale price. So some kind of more interesting insights, a 15% reduction in average sale price from the peak in March. So that's relatively substantial. Year over year doesn't look like that, but certainly we do know we had a peak, and we know it was kind of a February, March peak. The other thing that's interesting to me is, where have all the buyers gone? So we have had an increase in active listings, but look at this, 2,700, almost 28 to 31. That's not a dramatic change. We do often see some seasonal adjustments, but this, 1,800 buyers, 1,500 buyers, 1,100 buyers, that's rather substantial, and that's not typical. We'll see that on a later chart, but that's not a typical July. So I do wonder if buyers are kind of waiting in the weeds, sitting on the sidelines, wondering where things are going to go. And I will say this, affordability is not getting better. Prices have gone down, but interest rates have gone up. And the net effect is affordability is not better. So waiting in the weeds is not necessarily a good idea, unless, of course, you're avoiding a mortgage altogether. Moving on, we'll take a deeper dive into a few of these stats. So if we look July over July, we're still showing a market that's up about 4.5% on the residential side and up 1.5% on the condo side. So, all is not lost. This is still a very robust market, but it certainly isn't what we saw, in the height of the peak. So moving on. This is what's interesting to me. So look at this. Last July we had 1,700 sales, and that would be more indicative of a July. I think it was a little bit of a strong July, but 1,100 is very slow. So 35.4% reduction in sales year over year for the month of July. And active listings are up 44.9%. So that's how you see this change in the months of inventory, right? 1.3 months last year, now almost 3 months. But again, the volume of sales is quite interesting to me. That is not a normal July. So we'll see where that goes. So moving on, we thought we'd share this slide with you this month. We often don't, but quite a stark peak in terms of inventory, right? So we often see a little bit of an increase in inventory over the summer months, but not like this. And so there's a story there, obviously. So what's going to happen? Well, the Feds are the Bank of Canada is ready to probably raise interest rates again. Who knows, maybe half a point or something, September 7th. There's lots of inventory, coming into the marketplace. Buyers seem to be a little bit reluctant. So there's likely additional downwards pressure on pricing. Now that shouldn't translate into, hey, I should wait to buy, because again, as interest rates go up, your affordability changes. And for most of us, the $700,000 house today is not cheaper than the $800,000 house a few months ago when we were looking at under 2% interest rates. So we're not gaining any ground by waiting. I do think if I was a consumer, there was some hesitation, the interest rates are raising, where are things going? It probably sidelined a lot of buyers who will probably re-enter the market as we get comfortable with the new reality, which is more of a balanced market the way it should be, which is, a fair market for all of us to be in. Interest rates in the kind of 5% range, that historically that's very solid, but it's quite a contrast to what we saw a month or so ago, 3 months ago. So I think this is just one of these markets where everyone's feeling things out. I expect a little bit of a reduction in average sale price still because of additional rate hikes, but probably a return to some decent volume as we kind of, familiarize ourselves with the new reality. Anyways, let's see what August brings, and we'll see how accurate those predictions are.